Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Roaming Prepper Channel. I want to thank you for joining me once again on one of my videos. Today is actually going to be a double product review, which I hope you guys find fun. Now, I will tell you right now, this is more a rudimentary, basic level introduction to this platform. I'll do a separate shooting video. I actually just lost something here, but that's why I keep looking around. I will do a separate shooting video at a later date. I might actually do a side-by-side between this one and the M-LOK. But it's also being made because I have some friends who recently are practicing their 2A rights and actually are starting to get into this platform, the variations of the AR and the other carbines out there. And they're not very familiar. One is a very experienced skeet shooter and a pistol shooter, but never got into the carbines. The other one picked up a gun once before in their life. So I'm kind of making this video for them and for a few other people who are new to the community and new to practicing and exercising their rights. I will say right now, before I go any further, I have to put this disclaimer in here. I know you guys don't agree. I think it's silly, but it's not my playground, so I'll play by the playground rules. The firearm is unloaded. The firearm, we don't have any live ammunition in the room. I'm obviously in a controlled space. Remember, if you have a firearm, assume it's loaded until you yourself check it, not someone else telling you. Do not point the firearm at anything or anyone you don't intend to shoot or possibly shoot. Be aware what's past your target and what is your target. And most importantly, do not operate a firearm if you may be in a impaired state of any type, whether it's due to a medical, a medicine or a medical issue or an emotional issue, or you were intoxicated or impaired by something. So that being said, we're moving on. So, and yes, I know you guys are probably at this point snickering in the chat, but I've worked really hard to build my various channels, and I really don't want to get red flagged because I didn't put the disclaimer in there. So you take that how you will. In any case, so the DB15 and the Fayachi. We're going to start with the DB15. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of it standing up. I'm then going to turn the camera to the table. You guys can take a peek at it there. So the DB15, known as the Diamondback 15, is a flat top auto-loading carbine chambered in 5.56 millimeter. Now, as a reminder, you can shoot 223.223 out of a 5.56 generally quite safely. It is recommended you not do the other way around. You do not fire a 5.56 through a firearm that is stamped only .223. Now, there's some people who've done that and it has caused no harm. Manufacturers discourage it for two reasons. One, there is a very slight difference. The bullets are almost identical, almost. There's a slight difference in the tapering of the shoulder of the round. So you have the bullet, you have the casing, and there's a tapering where the casing pinches on the bullet. It's slightly different between the two calibers. And apparently, if I remember correctly, and y'all in the chat can fuss me if I got it backwards, if you fire a 5.56 through a firearm that is only chambered for .223, you could get an overpressure environment that can either damage or cause the firearm to fail, in some cases catastrophically. So be aware of that. The other way around, the .223, when it's chambered in a 5.56 chamber like this one, does not have that effect, and apparently the 5.56 chambers are rated for a higher pressure. Again, that's my understanding. If you have better understanding, feel free to put it in the comments and share it with the community. I'm totally fine with that. Don't put trolling shit, just, put a valuable comment so everyone can be educated. So in any case, 5.56 by 4.5 millimeter auto-loading carbine. It is a flat top, as you can see. That indicates that there are no optics on this. There is no rear sight, no front sight, no scope, red dot, Ouija board, anything of any type on the top of this firearm. Now, it is meant for right-handed shooters primarily, but because of this deflecting bolt, or deflecting shield, as you can see, will allow you to shoot it left-handed and not get the casing in the face. That is a little trick they learned during the Vietnam War because the originals didn't have it, and a left-handed shooter was getting shell casings in the face because it comes almost straight up and back. But by hitting this, it actually kicks it forward and up. So it kicks it away from the shooter. Those of you who've shot these before know what that's about. Now, it is an over 16-inch barrel, so that is legal. This is not an SBR. This is considered a long gun or a rifle, depending on the nomenclature of your state. Buttstock that came with it is from Magpul. Now, as you can see, it has the slightly tapered ridge here, which allows for a very nice cheek weld. I was playing with it earlier, and it's rounded. Now, some of the more generic platforms like this have a very squared off rear end, which is fine functionally, but if you put your cheek up against it, after a while it'll wear a little bit on your cheek. It does have the retractable stock, so if you're a longer armed or shorter armed and statured shooter, you can retract it accordingly to give you the proper length of pull. Now, for clay shooting, the general rule is length of pull is from your elbow to your hand, so like this, and so I can probably shoot it just fine like this, and yeah, you can see my finger reaches. I prefer tuck it in just a hair. That's a little too short actually, but that's a good way to measure it, and everybody's a little different. I know some people who are short and have long arms. I've seen tall guys with shorter arms, you know, so you can adjust for your size. In any case, so again, for those of you, and this is, like I said, a rudimentary video. Handle, trigger, this is your charging handle. It does come with the Mil-Spec design, single latch on the left side, which is typical for these kinds of platforms. I do find interesting, and it has the mag release actually on the right side, so it's not ambi, and a bolt latch or bolt release on this side. Now, as you can see, it has this green thing sticking out. This is actually a safety device that goes in the chamber. It is actually made in the USA. Now, it came with it. It is called the mtchamber.com. Letter M, letter T, chamber. So mtchamber.com. And this little hoo-ha, you notice, has like a bullet-shaped thing on the end. You put through the magwell here, and you see how it's in the chamber right there. It goes up. When you drop the bolt, it gets pinched into the chamber, and it simultaneously allows you to see that A, the chamber is clear, and B, there is no mag in the magwell. So there you can see the chamber, how it pinches in there. You see the little green in the chamber, and at the bottom, it clearly has no mag in it, so we're going to lock that back. I have not cleaned this yet. I have it, and I have not cleaned it, so it's a little bit sticky. I'm going to have to oil it properly and then go to the range and run some rounds through it. However, so you have a right-handed mag release. You also have your safety on the left side, but it's meant for the right hand. This model does not have an ambidextrous safety. So if you are a lefty shooter, there's no safety for you here. You're going to have to actuate it like that, which can be weird if you're a lefty shooter. Now, you can reverse it. There are tools. You can knock out some pins and flip it around. So one of the things I do like about the platform is that you can flip it for lefty or righty shooters or ambidextrous. My LWRC is set up ambi. I have mag releases and safeties on both sides, depending on how I'm shooting it. Now, this is a direct impingement firearm, and as you may not be able to see, but you see in here there is the gas tube. The gas tube actually, so as the bullet comes out down the chamber, it diverts some gases back to function the bolt carrier group to eject the empty and then load the next round. The hot spot is going to be right smack in the middle, so this is where your gas return is, and I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see in there. One thing I do like, it has a full length, almost to the end of the barrel, M-LOK skeleton foregrip or shielding, depending on how you want to call it. This allows you to get a little bit fancy with this if you want to put a bunch of accessories on it. The weight without anything is rather light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the direction of the camera. We're going to take a nice look at this rifle, and we're going to get a feel for what it looks like on the inside. And then we're going to jump over to the Faiachi iron sights, just so you can see an option that you could put on a platform like this. All right, folks, so looking at the rifle from this side. So as you saw earlier, the mag well is clear, and there is no mag in here. So we will drop the mag release. I'm trying to do this around the camera, so I know this looks kind of odd the way I'm doing it, right? You pop out your pins, and this is a direct impingement rifle. So for those of you unfamiliar with that, I'm going to very quickly show you what that is. Let me get around the camera here, and there's the bolt carrier group. And, oh, they got a little bit of grease in here. And your charging handle. That's basically a teardown of an AR. The DB15, you can push this other pin out and separate the two halves. Let me see if I can get that done. Clearly it doesn't want to play nicely with me at the moment. Let's get that other pin in there. There we go. Pop this guy out. Maybe not. There we go. And voila. And there we go. So you can see that you have a chrome chamber on the inside. There's your gas return. It is, and it has a little fancy labeling there, which is really silly. This is a mag-lock front end. Mag-lock uses a special little latching system. So this would be considered a Picatinny or 1918 rail. I've heard different variations of it, where you can see you can attach and latch items onto here. Here you should be able to latch them pretty much any of these spots using the M-LOK system. You can also put rails like this on the side here, but you will have a weight penalty with that. This is the lower. As you can see, it's pretty much a typical lower. Here, right-handed control. There's your safety on off. This is your chamber lock, or rather your bolt lock. And this is your mag release. I won't show you a mag because most of you who are shooters know what it looks like. And I don't know if showing a mag will get me in trouble on the tube anymore. This also has a little handy dandy, ouch, door down here. And you can put spare batteries for an optic. You can put spare batteries for a tac light if you have a tactical light on there. A variation of things you can do. Bolt carrier group is pretty standard. For those who've not seen one before, I'm not going to pull this one apart at the moment. I will do that at a later time. But pretty much standard bolt carrier, nothing special here. Charging handle, again, is the Army or old classic military design. You can get one that has like latches on both sides. Be aware though, if you switch certain things like the bolt carrier group, you could, or the charging handle, in certain ways, you could invalidate the warranty on your firearm. So be mindful of stuff like that when you do mods to your firearms. Putting an accessory versus replacing that which they gave you could cause you to lose coverage. I've heard Diamondback's very good about support for any repairs needed. So what you do, you contact them, they'll give you a FedEx shipping number, you bring it to a local FFL, a gun store, and they will ship it, and then they'll return it to you if it's a warranty issue. If it's not, you have to pay for it if they do the repair. So if you broke it and you ask them to fix it, they can definitely do it for you, but you're going to pay for the shipping and the repair. Otherwise, they'll cover it. Then you reassemble. If I can do this sideways because I'm behind the camera. There we go. And that's it. Rather straightforward. I will do another video with the shooting part. But at this juncture, we're going to talk a little bit about the Faiachis. So the Faiachis, I actually have a few red dots from these guys. And one of them is over 8 years old. And it's worked like a champ. The Faiachi, this case, or actually pop-up iron sights. Now, even though I may eventually put a red dot or a scope here, I always like having iron sights, because if the scope breaks, if the red dot fails, I have something I can drop back with. So it comes with 2 aircraft aluminum sights. This is the front sight. As you can see, it's a classic pin, and you can see hold on, I'm going that way, the other way. You can see there's like a little pin in here. There's a tool you go in, it has teeth, and you pop it in and you twist, and it elevates or declines this pin in front to adjust your point of aim vertically. So you're shooting too low or too high. The front sight is the way to adjust that. The rear sight, also metal. And this one, you push the button to release and it goes right up. And then to bring it down, you push this in and push it back down. Now, this one has your windage adjustment right here. And as you can see, so if you're shooting left or right of your bullseye, you adjust using this. And it has the close quarter as well as the distance shooting aperture. So I'm going to bring that a little closer so you can see that. Let me get it against the green background. So the close-up is a wider aperture. Distance is a tighter aperture. And then you can adjust, and then you flip it down. Now, to attach it, it comes with a little handy-dandy wrench in the box. And you open this and you, okay, maybe not. There we go. You release this little latch. And this is the first time, by the way, I've used the Feyachi iron sights, or flip-up iron sights. The last time I used was last ones I used was a different brand. And so what you would do, depending on your style of shooting, is you would simply mount the sight over the rail up here. Let me see if I can do this sideways again, and maybe not. May need to loosen it more. There we go. And you slide it up until it gets into the position you need it. Clearly, I'm not doing something right. So let me play with this a bit, and then we will come right back and look at that for a second. So I got it on there. I'm not tightening them right now. This may or may not be the final position for them. But as you can see, I have the rear sight back here. I can fold it down. Front sight here. Fold it down. Oops, there we go. And so you basically make it flat. Now, if these are supposed to be set up, so if I put a red dot or any kind of optic here, especially the red dots or the holographics, and I pop these up, I should be able to see through the holographic to the front sight. So basically they co-witness. If you've not heard that phrase before, it means that the red dot or optic should be able to be seen through the iron sights. And that's a way to truly get a good backup. If the holographic or red dot is completely broken or shattered, you may have to remove it. But if the battery just dies, you can flip these sights up and still see through it. But now you're using the iron sights as your aiming choice and not the red dot sight. So again, these come with the 2 sights and the little hex tool. And you can also use your own hex tool. And this is the brand. I will put links to all this stuff if you want to look up the specs. It's actually not made in China, which is cool. It is made by a different, apparently a different communist country, but we trade with them now, so I guess that's okay. Just to give you an idea of how you can configure it, I will show you my wife's toy. This is my wife's Diamondback. Mine is, this one's new, this is hers. I'm going to slide mine over and drop hers down. Now, she's a little bit smaller. She's much smaller than me height-wise. So she has a Magpul front and rear. We put a scope on hers. Now, this scope can go from a 3 magnification, like an ACOG almost. Actually, ACOGs are 4, all the way up to a 9 magnification. So she can use this for precision distance shooting if she needs to. Because she's a little smaller, she added the rail underneath, and she put the foregrip so she can reach forward, because she can't reach here. and she tends to tuck this to like the first notch on the back for a petite shooter. Now, if I had to pick hers up in an emergency, I would just need to pop it back here, and hers is sighted in such a way that I can use it in a pinch if I needed to. Her backup sights are under, so if she has a malfunction with the scope, she can shoot over the scope, just dead pointing at a target. And then at some point she'd need a tool just to pop the scope off, and she could go back to those flip-up sights underneath. I'm probably going to use a red dot on this one, so I won't have to use a tool to get it off. In any case, that's basically the review of both the Diamondback platforms and the Fiachi. I really like the platform. I sighted hers in after she put it together. I just kind of provided, she basically stole all my spare stuff before I got mine. So yeah, now it's hers. So I'll need to add a scope or a optic. By the way, this Nikon scope you cannot get anymore. I think it was one of the best mid-range shooting scopes in the market, called a BDC, a bullet drop compensator, and they don't make them anymore, and I'm heartbroken. They were under 150 bucks. This thing is 9 years old. I've used it on hunting trips, backpacking trips. I've moved it to different platforms, and it still works, and it still holds zero. I think one of the best values I've had in a long time, but Nikon does have other good scopes. So I'll leave you some links for all of this so you can do your own research and your own homework. All right, my friends, that is it for this video. I hope you guys found it interesting. Again, this was for those who are any kind of experience shooting these platforms. This was a very rudimentary, basic review of the platform, just for people to see something different. It was really meant for newer shooters or people who may be on the fence about getting into these platforms. I would recommend, if you get into one, do some reading, do some homework, emails me or one of the other creators or people in the chat who have some experience. We can share with you what we've gone through. This is a platform that we've had now for a few years in the family, the Diamondbacks. We like them. I think they're great multi-purpose. Now, one thing we are missing from both hers and mine is a sling. I'm not a fan of single point slings. I think you guys saw me hit myself in the crotch in the tactical base shooting video 2 years ago, because I safetied the weapon, cleared it, put the rifle down so I could talk to the camera, and the rifle went wah and hit me in the birdies. I did not like that. That kind of sucked. But I do like 2-point slings. You get more control, and you can put it down and have control over it and use your hands free if you have to do work in an emergency. Again, this is the wife's, and mine is kind of plain Jane, other than a couple of pop-ups on it. I have not decided what I'm going to put on this puppy yet, so we will figure that out at a later time. But that's it for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have questions, I'll try and put links for some of these spec sheets and the accessories. I can only put certain links for certain things, so I encourage you to do your own homework. But of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, theroamingprepper@gmail.com. You can also email some of the folks in the chat. We got a lot of great shooters in the chat, or any of the other, creators. Many of them have experience with various platforms, and they can share their knowledge as well. Till next time, be good, be safe, learn and practice your rights in a legal manner, and play nicely with the other children, unless they don't want to play nice, in which case you kick their butts. In any case, folks, be good, be safe, God bless. I will see all of you on my next video. You guys take care of yourselves.